the last 10 years, YouTube has become almost like a massive pool of most wacky stuff that you can basically get arrested for. And I don't mean like some absolute criminal acts. I mean, yes, there has been some stuff like that too. But I mean, like some stuff that like you just think nobody should really be doing in the first place. I think almost everybody at this point has seen like the guy who purposely records himself hopping trains, but at least he's a good sport about it. He knows it 100% that he is doing it, and there is a very large chance of him getting arrested, and there's nothing more behind it, right? And I used to watch like the parkour videos and stuff like that, and those guys usually end up getting arrested as well because they go a little bit too far. It goes from like maybe they're just, doing some parkour to okay, now they're like breaking into buildings to do parkour or something like that. And eventually these people go to jail and they get out fairly quickly because they have a lot of money. I mean, YouTube pays them a good amount of money because these videos get a lot of views for doing wacky and crazy stuff, which makes sense. And this has now transferred more into the day to day, I guess you could say, with now more and more people are being arrested with their YouTube videos. I mean, just I think it was a year ago, some couple got arrested because they tried to do a overnight challenge, and after the overnight challenge was over and they posted it, the cops were called on them and they got arrested for trespassing, I believe, stealing as well because they stole some stuff from the store that they went to. And there was just like a very big thing around this. So I thought this trend kind of at that point was going away. Was going to the wayside. Nobody was going to really do this anymore because this is one of those challenges that you do get arrested for. It's like if you go in and you prank someone and the prank is harmful to them or harmful to the store or harmful in any way, past the point where it's not a prank anymore, it's like, yes, you are going to get arrested for it. And that's why a lot of these prank channels have kind of very slowed down in their progress because they can't just go out in public and be an absolute nuisance to society. And I don't mean like, what Ross Creations does, we'll say, where he goes out and he does something that physically and mentally only affects him. I guess like I say mentally, but maybe seeing Jesus pop out of a trunk when you honk, maybe puts you in a weird mental state a little bit. But 9 times out of 10, his stuff is just funny and it doesn't affect the public at all outside of being like an actual goof. Where other people won't do this, right? Because people don't realize that stuff like, let's say, staying over in a mall overnight or staying at some sort of residence, it's like, one, you're technically trespassing, like 100%. But also, it's a massive safety concern at the same time. Imagine a mall or a playground or something like that where you have small children basically wandering around, sometimes by themselves, and you just basically prove to security that you can easily not only get in, but you can stay in without being noticed. So that's why they've really increased the odds with this. Like you get arrested, you usually will end up getting trespassing, if not more, depending on what you did. And I think that's fair. I think it's a little harsh, plastering people's face all over the internet. I think it kind of sucks in that way. But I think this stuff needs to be shown. I really do. I think less people need to do this stuff where it's like you're doing something directly that could make you a public nuisance. So why am I talking on this? You might be asking today. Well, Duke Dennis, the man himself, apparently was arrested for something very similar, where him and Kai were filming a video. It says they were filming a video claiming to be shopping in the mall, but when I read into the article deeper of why it was, it says that they were actually doing a hide and seek overnight thing in the mall instead. Now, I would say if they were just playing hide and seek in the mall, who cares? I think, obviously you're going there with cameras and you'll probably get noticed a little bit more. But I mean, I used to do that when I was a kid myself. I'm no saint. I used to, go into the little clothes aisle and, play hide and seek or something like that. It's just like a little fun thing to do. It's not that big of a deal and it's not that serious. But where it becomes a big deal is the overnight aspect, right? Is the aspect where you are now stepping into the bounds of like, oh, this was like funny, haha, to okay, well now you're doing something illegal, and you're also promoting this thing that can become dangerous, right? Isn't dangerous because you're doing it, but can become dangerous if someone else with more nefarious thoughts does it. And from my understanding, I think Duke is like taking a break or something from like streaming or YouTube or whatever because of this, and I think that's good on him. I don't think Duke is a bad guy any means, but it was just something that kind of prompted this thought in my head where it's like I think stuff like this is good. You know, I think stuff where you were not allowing people to just go in public and be menaces to society is good. And like I said, I don't have any issues with Duke. I don't have any issues with Kai or Amp or anything like that. This is just a objective opinion. I think anybody in this situation should have been arrested. If you're trying to stay in a mall overnight to play hide and seek, or stay in a mall overnight just in general, it doesn't really matter, or any place without the actual permission of that place. I think that's 100% fair. Now, what comes from this? Hopefully, maybe this trend dies down, and I hope Duke is good. At the end of the day, I hope that this isn't making him struggle mentally or anything like that. I don't really think it probably would, but I'm sure he's also a little bit shaken because it's kind of weird to just be arrested for what you would probably view as like filming a YouTube video, for your channel that you have with like your friends. So that's what I want to talk about today. Let me know what you guys think about people making content in a way where it can slightly disturb the public, whether that's like harmful prank videos or people staying in locations when they're not supposed to be, or just something like that in general. Let me know what you guys think. But hope you guys enjoyed. Have a wonderful night. Peace.